And yeah, I graduated from psychology back in 2013, and I started to work as a case manager after that.
What were your favorite classes during college, or what would you tell like people who want to study psychology? My
Um,
favorite classes first.
my favorite classes were I guess, abnormal psychology, because there's that's the class where you get to see a lot of mental diseases. You get to see a lot of personality disorders. I think that was the most interesting class, but it was also because of the professor was very good. Um, and I think another one was cognitive psychology, or yeah, cognitive psychology, because it deals a lot about deals a lot with the actual what's actually happening in your brain and how it relates to the mental disorders. I think those were my favorite two classes.
What are the best things about your career? Like when you were doing your classes, what were the best things that you're like, okay, this makes going into psychology worth it?
Mm,
Or what did you like about your career? That's what I'm asking. Besides that class, of course. Like I mean, like overall.
I guess simply that you get to think a lot or to analyze more how people behave, how people think, and how why they act the way they act, or uh, what makes a person being the way he is. Or I mean, there's a lot of controversy, I guess, between if people are born the way they are with the personality that they are born with, or if they develop that personality when as they grow up. There's a lot about a lot of controversy about that, but I think it's a mixture of in my opinion, is more like nature. I think it's mostly what happens to you that makes your personality develop. But I think that's one of the most interesting things that you get to do with a lot of stuff like that. You think more about why people think this way, why are they doing the things that they are doing. If you want to think about how a person is going to react in the future, you can think about how she has or he has behaved in the past. I think that's another thing. That was one of the things that interested me the most when I was studying psychology.
And what is the worst?
The worst is that, of course, there's not a lot of opportunities. A lot of opportunities.
Like for jobs, for
Yes,
work?
for jobs, and even internships are not very well paid. Some of them are not even paid. So I think that's one of the things, that there's not a lot of opportunities or well paid opportunities when it comes to that field.
So basically, what do you need? What do you think you need to do, or like people need to do in order to be able to get a job in psychology?
Well, I think a lot of people what people need to consider is that if you go to a field like psychology, I think by now it's mandatory that you have a master's degree. I think that's something that you will need regardless of what you want to do, because with the bachelor's degree there's opportunities, but there's not a lot, to be honest. You can go into the into the healthcare field, into the what is it called, the mental health. You can become a case manager or a social worker, but if you don't have a master's degree, it's going to be very hard to work as a counselor. So you need a master's degree to become a counselor, and for the to become an actual psychologist, you need to have a PhD or PhD.
I mean, I don't know about this stuff. So basically, what is the difference between, let's say, a case manager and like a counselor? Like,
Counselor.
I mean, I'm assuming, what is the difference? Like, just let us know a little bit about that.
Well, when I was a case manager, that was because I had my bachelor's degree. And when I was a case manager, my work was basically going to I had a caseload of 20 clients. All of them had some sort of mental disease, either schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, or depression, major depression. And my role was to go to visit them every week, visit them for about 5 hours to each of them.
5 hours?
Every 5 hours each of them. Well, it didn't have to be the same day, but it could be during the week, split during the week.
Okay.
But it was 20 people, so that was a lot of time.
Yeah, sounds like a lot.
Mm-hmm. And my work was basically to make sure that they were taking their medication, that they were not trying to kill themselves or kill somebody or harm someone else. So it was very difficult going into the houses and talking to them sometimes, because they will exhibit some sort of aggressive behavior. But most of them want to get help, so that's fine. I mean, sometimes they just need someone to talk to. And with when I guess the difference between being a case manager and being a counselor is that as a counselor you get to stay in the office or in the building, and, and you can deal with any type of client, either the ones that don't have the level 1 clients, which are the ones that are already like getting better, or the level 2 or level 3 clients who are exhibiting more, I guess, problems exactly. And as a counselor, you get to stay in the office and you talk to them, you see how they are doing. But as a case manager, you have to go to the field and actually visit the clients and stuff like that.
So it's more like on field, and you need to actually like travel more.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's kind of the way you say you make it seem is kind of like how in engineering, like when you're a recent graduate and you get a job, they make you go do all these site visits and stuff like that. So it sounds similar to that. It sounds tough. Let us know, how did you got that job like after you graduated? Because you're saying it's really hard to get a job, but you still managed to get a job. How did you get it?
Well, basically, I was there's not, I guess, many companies here that actually have a good job like that as a case manager. So what I was doing, I was applying to this company all the time. I was basically applying once per month and twice per month. I kept the same routine. I was applying twice per month. And one day they just called me for an interview. I went through several mock interviews just to practice, and then I had that interview, and they told me maybe 1 month later that I got the job, but it took me about 4 months to get it.
Yeah, I mean, like, well, for those of you that we don't know, like, for example, we live in an area. It's like a small city, and a lot of like works, well, a lot of jobs, they are very hard to get. Like, for example, like for me, I do structural, but if you graduate here in this area out of structural and try to get a structural job here, you will not be able to get it. I mean, you might be, but it's really hard. A lot of people that I know, they just moved to a bigger city, so Houston, San Antonio, or Austin. But in here, it's kind of hard to find jobs, and I'm assuming that's the case for your field as well.
Yes.
Did you ever have a client, like, because you're saying that you would go visit these people? Did you have a client that like scared the crap out of you, and can you tell us a little bit about that, or?
Well, yeah. I guess what I can say is that there was especially one that I didn't feel very comfortable because he will tell me that he had been in jail about 3 or 4 times because he will stab people. So I was there along with him and all the time. So it was really
Like, good, I'm gonna get stabbed.
yeah, I'm going to get stabbed. What's going to happen to me? What if he stabs me? What am I going to do?
And they leave, dude?
Yeah, and the pay is not it's not very well rewarded, I guess, the job. But I mean, I had to be there, and after some time I realized that it wasn't what I wanted to do, so I just stopped working.
All right then. Well, this is just a little insight on like the psychology from somebody that already went through that, and he went through also like the job hiring process and all that. Thank you so much for doing this little small interview for us. We're gonna have him because he's cool. He's trying to be a stand-up comedian now.
Wow.
So thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you liked it, and if you have any more questions for him, let us know, and he will try to answer your questions. And subscribe to my channel, guys. Have a good one.